Hi everyone, welcome to my channel here at the Urban Cottage, where I talk about living with a disability, specifically cerebral palsy and fibromyalgia, my love of all things retro and vintage, specifically the 1950s, and if you haven't seen my videos by now, you will also know that I'm a mad dog lady. I also have some videos about cleaning hacks, especially what it's like to keep a home clean with a disability and manage those daily tasks. Now, I'm really trying to fine tune my channel to make sure that it reaches the right people, although I do cover like 2 or 3 areas on my channel, so I know that it will be a bit more difficult for the algorithm to kind of work it out, but I'm getting there. After speaking to some other content creators that have chronic illnesses, I really wanted to cover a few stigmas that I come across since being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia at the age of 25 and I am now almost 33. I was born with cerebral palsy, so I already lived and grew up with a disability and all the stigma that comes around that. But I really wasn't aware or wasn't ready for the amount of judgment that having fibromyalgia would bring on top of the stigma that already surrounds disability as a whole. And even for someone that grew up with a disability, these things were a shock to me. I once heard someone refer to fibromyalgia as the fat and lazy disease, and that it's completely made up, that most people that have the illness, we're just fat and lazy. Now, I know I look about 50 stone on camera, but put it in reference, I'm 5 foot 8 inches tall and I wear size 8 to 10 clothing, so I'm definitely not fat. Also, my physiotherapy routine for my cerebral palsy was brutal as a child. I worked from leaving school, I worked in the care sector, I've hardly ever worked a sit-down job in my life until I medically retired at the age of 29. And I used to travel a 60-mile round trip 5 days a week for my job. So I'm definitely not lazy. And although I am outspoken and I am very abrupt and I'm not backward in coming forward, I do try and be kind where possible. So unless the person deserves it, I can honestly say I'm definitely not a bitch either. So to call it fat lazy bitch disease, which is the term they used, is wrong. The second thing that I used to get quite a lot was, you need to man up, you need to get a grip. I would have loved to have seen these people do my physio regime every day like I did as a child, because they wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds. I had my legs in plaster as an alternative to surgical intervention to stretch the tendons in my legs, both legs, for 6 weeks over a summer holiday when I was in secondary school. From just below the knee to my toes, my entire lower legs were plastered. And the idea of these splints, plaster casts, was that I would walk in them with my feet stuck in a certain position to stretch the tendon, and then every week the cast would be cut off, my foot repositioned and a new cast put on. And when I tell you, having both legs in plaster, unable to bend your ankle, but still having to do everything else you had to do in the middle of summer, I mean, it was not for the faint-hearted. So I guess I could say that I'm pretty well manned up for a lady. You know, I can take a lot of shit. So I really don't think that applies either. And also, the other thing that I've had someone say to me is, well, it can't be that bad because otherwise you wouldn't go to work, or you wouldn't laugh, or you wouldn't be happy, and I think, can you imagine one day you wake up with a flu, the worst flu you've ever had in your life, and you do everything you possibly can to get over this flu as quick as possible, but that flu never goes away. It stays forever. Can you imagine living with the flu for the rest of your life? You have 2 choices. You can be really miserable about it, or you can find happiness in the small things in life. But don't be fooled. Just because you see us function in society just because you see the mask that we choose to put on specifically to make you more comfortable, does not mean that we are not suffering. I have been in pain every single day without a constant break since the age of 24. And the fact that I can still smile and find happiness and find joy says a lot more about me than it does about any of you that hold judgment. So with that in mind, I'm really hoping that this video reaches the right people, and that if it is reaching somebody that's held those judgments and has those points of view, I'm going to go on a bit of a different curve here and say, instead of feeling guilty about it, just from this time going forward, try and be a bit more empathetic towards others, and try and remember how lucky you are that that's not you. And with that, remember that kindness costs nothing. If you like this video or you have any questions, please like, share, repost, and please follow my channel, as I really want to get out there and help my channel grow. As I say, if you love all things vintage, this channel's for you. If you love dogs, this channel's for you. If you have a disability, this channel's for you. And if you like cleaning, this channel's for you too. So I'm trying to make it something that will reach a wide variety of people, so that we can bring people from all different aspects together under one community. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. God bless.